Okay. You're not muted, Kenya. All right.
We're
So,
not.
Eliezer, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Ayeli, you there?
You right?
Okay.
Oh, me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Hello?
Hey, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So we have about 70 folks already in, out of which 20 are panelists, and we have about 50 attendees. Hi, how are you? Nice seeing you. That's
Good. How are you?
Very good. Oh, so you got it. So you have my name on the top. I mean, on the bottom. So this is the two of us: a female me and a male me. Okay. So since we only have 2 minutes, I guess I'll do 1 in 1.5 in English or vice versa. So thanks each and every one of you guys for attending this wonderful, informative session moderated by our business development chair, Domingo Esteves. I'm sure that there will be a lot of useful information that will be shared. Domingo has a very concise and comprehensive and tight agenda to run. So we appreciate each one of you to ask questions that are related to what's at stake here. I'd like to share some breaking news from New York Times. There's an article that just came out in which the Treasury Department has now expanded the PPP program in fact, he asked Congress to add another $250 billion to the PPP program since the funds that had already been allocated, the demand was overwhelmed. So I think that we're going to have a little bit more of money to work with as small businesses. So I'll say it in Spanish. Gracias a todos por participar en la reunión del Comité de Negocios y Desarrollo del Community Board 12, en el cual se van a discutir cosas de mucho provecho para nuestra comunidad, tanto los negocios como la comunidad en general. Me gustaría compartir con ustedes una noticia que acaba de salir en el New York Times, en el que el programa del PPP, del Payment Program, se ha sido expandido o se ha pedido 250 billones más, porque lo que se puso inicialmente no fue suficiente porque la demanda fue mucho más grande que lo que se preveía. So with having said that, I'm gonna now ask our wonderful Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer, if she's there. I can't really see who's there and who's not. To please have a few minutes with us and share whatever is new, whatever's come up, new developments as far as the businesses are. Chair, Gail, I can't see whether she's there or not, or Natalie. Can't see either of them.
I believe that Natalie's online.
Natalie's online?
Yes.
Natalie, you going to speak on behalf of Gail, or is she there? You're going to have to make her...
Hello, guys. Thank you for doing this. The Borough President is still at Community Board 7 full board. She is going to try to join later. I will be in touch with her and let you know when she is joining.
Okay, great. Thank you, Natalie. So I'm going to introduce you to our moderator, Domingo Esteves, who's going to start, conducting the meeting as the agenda says for the next couple of minutes. So Domingo, you have the floor.
Basically, what we're going to see now is an overview of a series of resources available to small businesses and entrepreneurs. At this time, I'm going to ask everybody who's a panelist to mute themselves. Thank you. So I want to make sure that we have a robust amount of resources to be able to help our small businesses weather the storm. So en este momento nosotros vamos a tener varios panelistas que van a hablar sobre los recursos disponibles, para poder ayudar y apoyar a los pequeños negocios en estos tiempos de dificultad. Part of the panel, part of the people we have in today's panel, give me 1 second. Today we have representative from Congressman Espaillat's office. We have the Commissioner of the New York State Division of Human Rights, Angela Fernandez. We have Assemblywoman Carmen de la Rosa. We have New York City Small Business Solutions Upper Manhattan and Washington Heights Director, Christian Damiba. We have Legal Aid Society Community Development Project, Rolando Gonzalez. We have representatives from the Office of NYC Comptroller Scott Stringer. And to speak on the census, we have Word Up Community Bookshop. So hoy tengamos representantes de la oficina del congresista Adriano Espaillat, la comisionada de los derechos humanos para el estado de Nueva York, Ángela Fernández, la asambleísta Carmen de la Rosa, Small Business Solutions, el director Christian Damiba, el comptroller de la oficina de Scott Stringer, el comptroller de New York City, tengamos representante, y para hablar brevemente del census of Word Up Community Bookshop. Okay, so with that being said, we will start off with Debbie, who will be speaking on the following topics. Debbie.
All right, there we go. Domingo and the Business Development Committee, Eli and CB12, thank you for having us here tonight. There are very few things that are as important to the congressperson right now as the assistance and support to small businesses, particularly in the New York 13th. We have a lot of businesses that aren't just experiencing their business being down, but as this committee well knows, we have so many businesses that are completely shut during this time. So I wanted to, there's a lot of information out there right now about what kind of assistance is available to the small business, to the business community and small business community at this time. And the way to think about it is we have something that's particular to CB12 actually in the Northern Manhattan Recovery Fund, or I should call it the New York Presbyterian Northern Manhattan Recovery Fund, which I'll speak about first. And then there are two programs that are coming through the SBA. And I'm actually going to speak about the PPP last, but picking up on Eleazar's announcement about the expansion of the program, this is a very big deal. The CARES Act that established the financing for this assistance to small businesses was billions and billions of dollars. It was the third piece of legislation in terms of the emergency response to the crisis. Congress is now working on number 4. So
Debbie, you're
muted. Debbie, you muted yourself.
Debbie, you've accidentally muted yourself.
Honestly, didn't touch a button. So I'm first going to talk about the New York Presbyterian Northern Manhattan Recovery Fund. This is a $10 million commitment from New York Presbyterian. The first $2 million is being allocated now in the form of emergency fund. This is for businesses and nonprofits more than 6 months old, based in or serving Washington Heights, Inwood, Marble Hill, and or Hamilton Heights, who can demonstrate that COVID-19 has caused at least a 25% decline in revenue. Any any business can apply that falls into that category. The application is a 2-page application. It is available in English, es disponible en español también, es 2 páginas, it's 2 pages, and you make some attachments. The thing to remember here is apply now. If you're worried you don't have all your paperwork together, no se preocupe, don't worry about not having all your paperwork. Hispanic Federation is managing this grant. If they prefer that you have something additional, they'll let you know. Do the best that you can to show what your payroll is, what your rent is, and this is also important. Please ask for at least 2 months of needs. Better that you ask for too much than too little. So this is a fast, flexible, bilingual program, and I can promise it's very straightforward, and they're there to work with you if there's anything missing. So don't hold back because if you think you don't have it together. HispanicFederation.org/NOMA Fund. HispanicFederation.org NOMA Fund. Let me talk about now the 2 SBA programs. And first, I'm going to talk about one that is not the PPP. It's actually a separate thing. And this is a very old program that existed in the past for things like tornadoes, hurricanes that wiped out a business, let's say. And what they've done is they've used that existing structure to put forth these it's called an emergency injury disaster loan. This part of the program allows for $10,000, up to $10,000 in an advance on the loan that does not need to be repaid. It is a check to you. But because they're using that existing loan infrastructure, you have to, in a sense, quote, apply for the loan. Now, you can apply for more than $2,000. That will function like a real loan. The $10,000 is an advance. It is also first come, first serve. Every business should apply for this. This is a direct link to the SBA. This is not having anything to do with your bank. Here's a few things that you need to know about this. What was published and what was in the legislation contemplated payment of your $10,000, up to $10,000, within 3 business days. Like a lot of systems, it's overwhelmed. It's not moving as fast as it's supposed to be. There is not another announced date, but we have reason to believe that might be around April 15th. If you have already put in your application, they are not communicating to tell you it's not coming in 3 days. It just doesn't show up in your bank account in 3 days. But again, don't be deterred by the fact that it says loan. This is the emergency grant that all our businesses should receive. It is also not-for-profits are eligible, and sole proprietors or independent contractors. COVID-19 relief.sba.gov. COVID-19 relief.sba.gov. Navigate to the part that's emergency injury disaster loan. Things to remember here. It's all on the computer. You're gonna fill in bubbles, like you're gonna check off things like, are you a 501c3? Are you a corporation? You're gonna attest that you don't do something illegal, like you don't have a gambling business or sell illegal stuff. And then you're just gonna hit next and fill out the business name of your business and such, and hit next again. But what this means is we don't have a copy of that application to share with you, but it's not like filling in a bank loan. It's not that much information to attach. It's pretty straightforward. COVID-19 relief.sba.gov.
Question, Debbie.
SBA is available. Oh, sorry. Do you want to?
Yeah, because there's a lot of technicalities that go into like breaking down these forms. Would it be possible if we could potentially or eventually partner up to have some sort of walking people through the application process?
So what I'm saying is for the go get your $10,000, that's not because they don't have it in paper form, but to your point, I think we are working on getting it so that we can better assist people. I'm hoping to figure that out tomorrow, and I'll get to that to you as fast as you have it. But again, this one it's not as easy and straightforward as the NOMA Fund one, but 1-800-659-2955, the SBA doesn't always have a big wait time to talk to somebody. But again, because that you need the internet connection and because you're just sort of flipping through the pages, it's a little harder to assist somebody unless you're with them on the computer, but I am going to try to get a download of that in paper.
Okay, perfect. Because I think so I'm going to translate now, okay, for the previous ones.
And then for the previous two, and then I'm going to talk about PPP.
Okay. So básicamente, la representante de la oficina del congresista España está hablando de varios diferentes aplicaciones que hay disponibles para que pequeños negocios, non-for-profits, organizaciones comunitarias, puedan aplicar para recursos disponibles. La aplicación de Northern Manhattan Recovery Fund, el Fondo de Recuperación del Alto Manhattan, es una aplicación que estará disponible exclusivamente para gente que vive en el Alto Manhattan. Es una aplicación que está específicamente para la comunidad del Alto, para los negocios y las organizaciones en la comunidad de Washington Heights, Inwood y Marble Hill. Y después está hablando del SBA, del gobierno federal, el Small Business, la aplicación que se hizo disponible por el Stimulus Package que pasó el Congreso hace una semana atrás, donde básicamente es un poquito más estricta la guidelines porque es para la gente que primero vengan, es first come first serve. So básicamente para lo que apliquen primero recibirán los recursos. So ella está encouraging everybody para que pueda aplicar y participar y para aplicar y poder tomar ventaja de los recursos que está proveyendo el SBA. Ella provee un número que cuando creemos el paquete para pequeños negocios lo vamos a compartir con ustedes, o hacia el final ella lo repetirá y ella va a seguir con su presentación en inglés.
Gracias, Domingo. And I should also say to remember, that's 10,000 que no tiene que pagar. No es un préstamo, it's a grant. Y de emergencia. All right, so let's talk about the PPP. It was took up all the news on Friday. And so I want to just do a little sort of back up a little for PPP of what it is and what it, and where it applies. The Paycheck Protection Program is a loan that is designed so people maintain as much of their payroll as possible. And so one can get a loan, but this is a bank loan. So this is a straight up bank loan, not substantially different than the process of getting any other business bank loan. Some of our businesses already have perhaps a line of credit, some working capital finance, maybe some other form of business banking loan, but many may not have a lot of those relationships. This program ostensibly goes through any sort of SBA lender, and there are thousands. As a point of fact, for the majority of lenders, they are first looking to assist their existing business banking customers. You can borrow up to 2.5 times 2.5 of your average monthly payroll. This program is open until June 30th. The interest rate on the loan is 1%, and no monthly payments for 6 months. However, well, not however, and the biggest thing about this loan and why everybody is interested in it is the loan can be 100% forgiven. But there's a but here, because the loan forgiveness portion, meaning the portion of the loan that in a sense becomes a grant, is calculated based on your expenditures on payroll, rent, and utilities during the 8-week period beginning on the loan origination date. Second, and this is a big one, at least 75% of the forgiven amount must be for payroll, meaning this program for a company that has had, for a business that has had to shut its doors, it's a loan at 1%, but it's hard to see how you get very much forgiven because you don't have any payroll. So this, however, let's say you took out that emergency injury disaster loan for even more than 10,000. You could use this PPP later to refinance and get that great 1% rate, but that's a very different business decision whether you want to take on that debt. So, so I have found that for our smallest businesses and for businesses like restaurants and beauty salons and, you know, all the many businesses that have had to shut during this time, this is trickier. Perhaps, let's say, you know, any other business that still has payroll, this can be an interesting opportunity.
Okay, Debbie, so I have a question.
Yeah.
Could we break up into who qualifies? I know how to apply is online, but also who could assist in this process?
So that's an excellent question, Domingo. So the thing with the PPP loan, so again, the SBA number is the SBA number. They're always there to help. We at Congressman Espaillat's office are here to help. I understand that New York City Small Business Services is now pointing their resources towards assisting New York City businesses with these SBA loans. And you guys, I know, will be helpful. However, with the PPP, that's ultimately a bank loan. And for many of our smallest businesses, it may not work for them, but any business that has a business banking account at some bank can start the process. But it's a conversation with their business banking relationship manager or whoever the bank has designated. You know, some of them have designated like 800, again, servicing portals for their business.
That's a good point, because actually Assemblywoman Carmen De La Rosa included that in her talking points, being that she's also part of the banking committee. So she'll be able to elaborate a little better on that. Right.
So why don't I leave that there in terms of where I think a lot of us are there to assist, but I will just say, you know, that part of this discussion that relates most directly to, you know, oh, I'm in the middle of this. again, it's like any other banking product. If the bank's asking you for it, it's like any other bank loan. So it's
Correct.
you know what I mean? So
from my understanding,
yeah.
there's only 2 banks in Washington Heights who are actually able to do these loans, and it's Citibank and Chase.
No, that's not true. Now, remember, Friday, the banks, not to defend the banks, but I will say that the pressure, they were given this April 3rd date to open the window on a massive loan program as if we've never seen before. They were getting guidance up to Thursday night about what this program was supposed to be. Not all of them were in place on Friday when the window opened, and it was a disaster. As we all read in the press last night, yesterday went better, but not tons better, because
do you know what banks in the community are able to provide these loans?
Well, so remember, on Friday and Saturday, people hadn't to completely absorb the fact, because they weren't getting communications from their bank about this fact that it really, most banks were saying you have to already be our customer. It's not like you can start calling around 10 banks. I'm not saying that uniformly. There are a few banks, and as a government employee, I can't tell you which ones they are because I can't shift business to one versus the other. There are a few banks that will talk to people that are not already their customers, but the biggest banks are offering this to their existing business banking customers. Yesterday, the system was going up and down. Today, I assume things went a little bit better, but they are taking in the applications. But again, it is admittedly a massive number of loans for any banking institution to process. The last thing I'll say before handing it back is that today the congressman sent a letter joined by most of the New York delegation to the 6 biggest banks. Lori, you'll have to correct me if I've missed something here. The 6 biggest banks in the country, to talk to them about this issue, this very issue, that banks, Main Street businesses, mom and pop businesses cannot be sort of left out of this program just because they're smaller, just because they have traditionally less access to commercial credit. So it is something that's sort of at the top of his priority list. He's continuing to fight for it and to get better servicing from the large banks into the community for people that bank with a more local bank with local expertise. That's probably going smoother.
I have a question. So what you're basically saying is that the PPP loan should be accessible via all banks?
Through all SBA lenders, which all the major ones are, but you know, but again, the biggest ones didn't have
the capacity. I'm sure it's a lot of money.
For the small customers, they're calling their banker, and the banker's like, I'm not sure. I'm sure if you were a $500 million company and you were calling, the person who answered the phone had all the information. I'm hoping by today we're going to start hearing better feedback. But this idea that somehow they're not taking applications, this program is open. There might be still processing issues because of volume, but it's not, they can't close the window on a program that's going through June.
Okay, perfect. Let me translate now, Debbie. So, básicamente, la señora Debbie está hablando sobre que hay muchos bancos, si están certificados con la SBA, que pueden hacer estos préstamos para pequeños negocios o la persona que califiquen. Y básicamente si tiene una cuenta bancaria o una cuenta de negocio con algún banco, le recomendaría que lo llamara y le pregunte si ellos están aceptando aplicaciones para la PPP loan, para los préstamos PPP, y los primeros 10,000 serían perdonados. Pero por ahora, cualquier pregunta que tengan, lo vamos a esperar hacia la porción de preguntas y respuestas. Ahora vamos a tener, thank you, Debbie. That was so helpful. Appreciate it.
Oh, and Domingo, one more thing, and I thank you for this opportunity
I
to
have to move on.
share
Okay.
this information, but for everybody that is hitting issues with any bank that's telling them like we're not open or everything, if you Domingo could get me that feedback, because again,
Okay, cool.
we got to deal with that.
So si su banco le dice que no están haciendo los préstamos, por favor, contáctese con la Junta Comunitaria y nosotros vamos a estar haciendo un listado y se la estaremos proveyendo al congresista. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you so much.
So próximamente en nuestra agenda tengamos la comisionada de Derechos Humanos para el Estado de Nueva York. So next person speaking will be the New York State Commissioner for the Division of Human Rights, Angela Fernandez. Angela, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Domingo, Esteves, Chair of the Business Committee, and Eliezer Bueno, Chair of CB12, for hosting this event. I'm going to read my remarks because I want to make sure that I'm brief, and then I will say it in Spanish. Voy a hablar en español al final de mis discursos, así que para las personas que hablan español, lo voy a traducir al final. So first, I want to talk a little bit about discrimination very briefly. Anyone can be a victim of discrimination. You can be a business owner, you can be an employee, you can be unemployed. And specifically in this time, what I want people to be aware of is if your landlord or housing provider, and this also counts for commercial tenants, is harassing you or is trying to evict you because you or a family member is diagnosed with COVID-19 or because they believe you are at risk of contracting COVID-19. And here I'm thinking about healthcare workers, nurses, nurses' aides, doctors, janitors who work in hospitals, delivery workers, grocery workers, grocery store owners. And that harassment or eviction would be, harassment or eviction would be considered unlawful discrimination, and it is illegal. So if you believe you are being harassed, or you've been evicted due to COVID-19, please call our human rights hotline at 888-392-3644, and we will investigate, prosecute, and if we find liability, you may be awarded monetary damages and you may regain access to your home or to your space. So I'd like to pivot now and speak about the benefits available for people who have lost their jobs. And I think that even for people who own businesses, who have had to let go of their employees, and I know many of you did not want to let go of your employees, this is still useful information for them. And for those of you that are on the call that are independent contractors, there are some new expanded benefits due to the pandemic. So there are two additional unemployment insurance assistance programs that were created in response to the pandemic. The first is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, which provides payment to workers not traditionally eligible for unemployment benefits. Those are people that are self-employed, independent contractors, workers with limited work history, and others, and those who are unable to work as a direct result of the coronavirus public health emergency, because perhaps your place of employment closed, you're a primary caregiver for a child who is unable to attend a school or another facility, or you are providing care for a family or household member diagnosed with COVID-19, or for another reason in which you do not qualify for unemployment insurance and have been affected by COVID-19. So in order to apply for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, which I just spoke about now, you must first apply for unemployment insurance and then be denied. Once you've been denied, then you can apply for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. The second unemployment insurance program is the Pandemic Unemployment Compensation, which provides an additional $600 a week to those who are receiving either unemployment insurance or the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, which I just spoke about above. Please note that you do not need to apply for Pandemic Unemployment Compensation. This is the one that's $600 a week. And that Pandemic Unemployment Compensation will last for 39 weeks until July 31st, 2020. And unemployment insurance or Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Those will last through December 31st, 2020. So in closing, I would like to speak a little bit about the unemployment insurance application process. Due to the millions of calls and filings that the New York State Department of Labor has been receiving, they're asking filers whose last names begin with the letter A through F to call or file on Mondays. For those with last names beginning with the letters G through N, to call or file on Tuesdays. And for those with last names beginning with the letters O and Z, to call or file on Wednesdays. And if you're unable to file on those days, you can then file Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And remember that if you are eligible, you will be paid all of your benefits due from your first day of unemployment and not from the date that you filed. So even though this is taking longer than usual, you will eventually get paid for all that is due to you starting from the first day of unemployment. And they are encouraging people to file online, which will also send those resources. And one final note, those who are DACA recipients, those who are TPS recipients, anyone who is authorized to work, but that is under a immigrant status, you can apply for unemployment insurance and you do not have to worry about becoming or being deemed a public charge. You will not be deemed a public charge if you apply and receive unemployment insurance. And then 2 other phone numbers I just want to add. People are under a lot of stress. This does provoke anxiety, and the state has over 6,000 mental health professional volunteers that are accessible and available, and that phone number is 844-863-9314. And then additionally, we have an eviction moratorium, and if you are evicted, you can call the Attorney General's office at 800-771-7755. Ahora voy a hablar en español. Cualquier persona puede ser víctima de discriminación y su propietario o proveedor de vivienda, y esto también incluye para personas que son dueños de negocios que alquilan en un edificio, si son acosados o si le intentan desalojar porque usted o un miembro de su familia es diagnosticado con la coronavirus o porque creen que está en riesgo de contraer la coronavirus, y aquí estamos pensando en dueños de tiendas de comida, de comestibles, trabajadores de salud, enfermeras, auxiliares de enfermería, médicos, los que limpian pisos en hospitales, trabajadores de delivery, trabajadores de supermercado. Ese acoso o ese desalojo es discriminación y es ilegal. Si cree que ha sido acosado y está siendo desalojado debido a la coronavirus, llame a nuestra línea directa de derechos humanos al 888-392-3644. Investigaremos, procesaremos y si encontramos responsabilidad o culpabilidad, se le puede otorgar daños monetarios y puede recuperar el acceso a su hogar o a su espacio de comercio si es desalojado. Me gustaría ahora hablar sobre los beneficios disponibles para las personas que han perdido su empleo. Y esto también es para las personas que son dueños de compañías o de empresa pequeña, porque yo sé que muchos de ellos quieren a sus empleos y no quieren que algo malo ocurra con ellos, así que puede compartir esta información con ellos. Y también hay personas que tienen su negocio independiente, que ellos son lo único empleado, y esto le puede beneficiar también. Hay 2 programas adicionales de asistencia de seguro de desempleo que se crearon en respuesta a la pandemia. El primero es el programa de asistencia de desempleo pandémico, que proporciona pagos a los trabajadores que tradicionalmente no son elegibles para beneficios de desempleos. Trabajadores independientes, contratistas independientes, trabajadores con historial laboral limitado o otros, y que no pueden trabajar como resultado directo de la emergencia de la salud pública del coronavirus. Puede ser que el lugar de su trabajo cerraron como resultado del coronavirus. Usted es el cuidador principal de un niño que no puede asistir a la escuela. Usted está proporcionando atención a un familiar o miembro del hogar que está diagnosticado con la coronavirus o por cualquier otra razón y que no cualifica para el seguro de desempleo normal. Y para solicitar la asistencia del desempleo pandémico, primero debe de solicitar el seguro de desempleo y tiene que ser rechazado por el seguro de desempleo tradicional y después de ahí ya puede aplicar para ese seguro pandémico. Para concluir, me gustaría hablar sobre el proceso de solicitud de seguros de desempleo. Debido a los millones de llamadas y solicitudes que ha recibido el Departamento de Labor del Estado de Nueva York, se le está pidiendo que las personas que tienen el apellido que comienza con la letra A F, que llamen o apliquen los lunes. Personas con apellidos que empiezan con G o hasta N, que llamen y apliquen los martes. Y después con personas que empiezan con el O hasta la Z, que llamen o aplican los miércoles. Si no pueden en esos días, por favor, llamen o apliquen jueves, viernes o sábado. Le están pidiendo que las personas presenten su solicitud por la computadora y sé que vamos a compartir esos detalles. Y para aquellos que son beneficiarios que reciben DACA, que reciben el TPS o quizá tienen otro tipo de autorización de trabajo que están bajo un estatus migratorio, ellos sí pueden aplicar. Ustedes sí pueden aplicar para este seguro de desempleo y no le va a afectar en el futuro y no va a ser llamado una carga pública por eso. Y para las personas que quizás necesitan ayuda porque están sufriendo de ansiedad, nosotros tenemos más de 6,000 profesionales voluntarios recibiendo llamadas para poder hablar, 15 minutos, 20 minutos. El número es 844-863-9314 y con eso termino. Gracias.
Ok, muchas gracias. Yo quería, tuvimos que Wendy, let me see. Wendy, how long is your presentation?
My presentation is 7 minutes.
How many?
7 minutes.
Okay, cool. So, let me see. All right, so let's do the MWBE presentation right now.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so first I guess, so I'm Wendy Garcia. I'm the Chief Diversity Officer for the Office of New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer. And what we're hoping to do today is provide the community board and the listeners, I know you have about 77 people on, a quick overview of what resources are available for small businesses and MWBs impacted by COVID. Except for my screen, let me see if I can, okay. I just want to talk a very high level overview on some things that the controller has been calling for particularly for small businesses in New York City. This was right before the stimulus package came in, so I just want to highlight a few items such as suspending payment for commercial rent for the next 2 months, automatically renewing licenses and permits, suspending collections for small business owners, enacting legislation around delivery fees, and I'm sorry, and in addition to that, calling on 100 institutional investors and corporate executive teams on boards to provide key items that we know are important, like provide paid leave for their workers, prioritize health and safety, maintain employment, because of course there's a widespread of unemployment, and of course maintain supplier-customer relations, because we know that when companies stop doing business with their suppliers, we're breaking chains, economic chains there. And of course to practice financial prudence, because we are expecting the highest level of ethical management and responsibility. I want to talk a little bit about an analysis that our office did, which is forecasting that we're going to be losing about $4.8 billion to $6 billion in city tax revenues. This is right before the stimulus package came out. The controller had called on direct cash assistance, forgivable loans for small businesses, and you heard Debbie from Congressman Espaillat's office talk a little bit about that and how those will turn into forgivable loans. Unemployment insurance, paid sick leave. You will hear Carmen de la Rosa, who I believe is our dynamic assemblywoman, is on the line, and she most likely will be talking about state and local fiscal stabilization, student debt relief, and expanded language for communities across the city. I do want to highlight that right now the market, while the market is not doing well, the market is still, we're still providing opportunities for women and minority-owned businesses. And it's critical that people understand that there is still buying happening at the city level for COVID emergency items. So if you are a state, if you are interested in doing business with the state or donating to the state, the Empire State Development is now looking for medical supplies and personal protective equipment. A lot of you have probably heard Governor Cuomo talk a little bit about this at his press conferences, but it is really important that as business owners are looking how they can provide services to government given the new, our new landscape, that you look at the screen you see in front of you and make sure that you fill out, you're ready to supply. If you're ready to supply, if you'll be ready to repurpose production, or if you want to volunteer and donate. The most critical piece on this slide is make sure you fill out the form, call the number you see on the screen, that's 212-803-3100, and fill out the form to be a supplier. This is not business as usual as we normally are used to. Usually procurement happens very differently in the city and in the state, but now with post-COVID, there are new buying rules that are functioning very differently. So if you're a business and you want to be part of that, you must be into this system. New York City, through the Economic Development Corporation, is also seeking businesses with the ability to source and or produce supply sourcing and manufacturing. So for example, if you are a business owner and you're on here and you need medical equipment and or you need food related or you provide food related items or workforce, if you utilize technology, if you offer technology services, if you offer space, transportation, manufacturing, it's important that you fill out the form that you see on the screen through the Economic Development Corporation to allow you to be part of that business process with the City of New York. This is separate from business owners who provide ready-made supplies to sell. So these are the conversations that you're hearing over and over again, the need for ventilators. So if you're a distributor and you can provide ventilators for the City of New York, if you can provide an N95 mask for the City of New York, surgical masks, surgical gowns, overalls, gloves, face shields, you want to then go to nyc.gov, which you also see on the screen, put in your supplier name and your email, and what is happening with the city is now that buying is happening between the Economic Development Corporation, the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, and MOX. So between those three agencies, they've put together a task force that is just looking at post-COVID items and distributing out to agencies. It's very different from how the city normally does business, but this is new procurement rules that are come up to deal with emergency items. We talked a little bit about, I think Debbie highlighted the good work that's being done through New York Presbyterian and in addition to the Hispanic Federation. So for the businesses that are on here and you want to know what is happening with the private sector and what is happening with grants, what are opportunities available? Some small items that will probably make a big difference now is that you have NYC fashion designer Pyre Ross, who announced $100,000 to help creative businesses owned by minority and women for distribution of grants. Facebook is offering $100 million in cash grants and credits up to $30,000 for small businesses as well. Google announced $200 million in investment funds. Hello Alice is providing businesses with grants for up to $10,000 for media distribution. And this is just a recent highlight that the Freelancers Union has also created its own relief funds for household post-COVID, and applications just opened up April 2nd. So please make sure that you look at those opportunities. Just some local grants. Quickly, you have local initiatives that support corporation grants that are up to $10,000. These are offering entrepreneurs, these are focused on MWBEs, and they are making sure that we offer opportunities for people to pay their rent, to meet payroll. Their first round of application ends on April 4th. And the wonderful Rethink Food New York, if you are familiar with them, you can, if you have Instagram, follow them online. They're offering restaurants up to $40,000 to stay open during this time. These are all local grants. Domingo, I believe you wanted me to talk very quickly about MWB certification. We still can. If not, I can stop there and stop share screen. I can't hear you, Domingo. You have your cell phone.
Yeah, so what I'll do is, since we have Kenya here, we'll let her do a presentation on MWBE, being that she works with them at the local level. So what we'll do now is, just Wendy, when you get a chance, if you could please email me the presentation so I could share it as part of the package for small businesses. Okay. So Kenya, we're going to let Carmen De La Rosa speak, and then we'll get you, because they have phone calls that they have to attend to. She has a hospital call, so she has to leave in a bit. So with that said, I would like to welcome our Assemblywoman, Carmen De La Rosa, who is going to be highlighting some very good points. Carmen?
Thank you, Domingo. Thank you to CB12, the Business Development Committee, and also the chair. I want to thank Congressman Espaillat's office for the information on the federal level, and our comptroller's office, Wendy, for the work with the small businesses, and obviously our Commissioner for Human Rights, who spoke a lot about Department of Labor and some of the issues that are happening there, and talked a little bit about the differences between the pandemic unemployment and regular unemployment benefits. So thank you, Angela, for that. I want to talk specifically about some things that are going on the state level with legislation. I do have to get off the call in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to be quick, and I will translate as I go. So there are two bills specifically that I want to talk about that are have been introduced in the Assembly and in the Senate. One of them, introduced by Bobby Carroll of Brooklyn, requires that certain perils like COVID-19 pandemic be covered by interruption insurance. This is to solve for an issue where businesses who currently have interruption insurance do not have the ability to remain whole through that insurance, because pandemic and viruses are not normally covered under those insurance. So that bill would change that issue. I think it's an important one, because as our small businesses have been paying into their insurance coverage monthly, now in the time where they need it most, I believe that they should have access to that. So I'm supporting that legislation. And the second bill is a bill that has been talked about often. We've actually gotten a number of calls about it, and is the suspension of rent payments for residential and small businesses for tenants who have lost employment or have seen a decrease in business due to COVID-19. Obviously, I'm supportive of that legislation as well. And we're hoping that we will have the opportunity to bring those two bills to the floor before session is over. Obviously, in a different setting now, because we're not in Albany, but still working from here. In Spanish, just to summarize those two pieces of legislation, quiero primeramente darle las gracias a Domingo y a todas las personas que están haciendo esta llamada posible esta noche. quiero también destacar dos legislaciones que creo que van a ser importantes para nuestra comunidad y para los pequeños negocios. Lo primero es una ley que hace que el seguro de interrupción que ahora mismo los pequeños negocios pagan cubran pandemias como la de COVID-19. Hemos visto un problema donde estos seguros no están cubriendo porque el virus no es una categoría bajo cual este seguro cubre. Así que queremos cambiar esa ley para que cualquier persona que negociante tenga ese tipo de seguro pueda recibir cobertura en este tiempo. Y el segundo punto que quiero hacer es sobre la ley de frizar las rentas, congelamiento de renta, suspender la renta. Tiene muchos nombres y eso es una ley que hace que las rentas comerciales, igual que las rentas para los inquilinos, sea frisada, congelada dentro de los meses donde estemos bajo esta pandemia. Yo apoyo esas dos leyes y vamos a seguir empujando para asegurar que esas leyes lleguen a un voto en la legislatura. So I also wanted to touch base a little bit about essential businesses. So we know that the governor has extended pause in New York State until at least April 29th. And so that means that only essential businesses are open. There have been some questions about what essential businesses are. I won't get into all of them, but I will talk about a few that I think are important for our community. Obviously, anything that has to do with healthcare, so any clinics, any research labs, any senior care, emergency medical, mental health, substance abuse, those are all considered essential, as well as manufacturing, people who do food processing or medical equipment, people who do agriculture or transportation, that is considered essential under manufacturing. We have essential retail stores like grocery stores and pharmacies, convenience stores, farmers markets, gas stations, and hardware stores. We also know that banking institutions are considered essentials, as are insurance companies, payroll firms, and accounting firms, as well as the financial markets. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. We've heard in the news that all non-essential construction work has been canceled, except for work that is considered essential construction, like roads, bridges, transit, hospitals, affordable housing construction, and the construction of homeless shelters. Obviously, all social distancing rules apply, but those, unless it's essential construction, which are the ones I mentioned, we are having a pause on construction in New York State. Under the March 15th executive order, we know that bars, restaurants, theaters, casinos, any situation, any business that congregates 50 or more people has to remain closed for the time being. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the resources that we're seeing from the Department of Financial Services. The Department of Financial Services in New York State regulates banking institutions. And so we are seeing that there is regulations that are going to be issued allowing consumers and small businesses experience financial hardship due to COVID-19 to defer health insurance payments and premiums through June 1st. So this is going to be something that will be helpful for some of our small businesses. And there's more information that will be coming through an order that the governor will be signing soon. In addition to that, I want to talk about state chartered banks. So I'm on the banking committee in the assembly, and one of the things that DFS is trying to do is asking state chartered banks to waive ATM fees, late fees, overdraft fees during COVID-19. We think that this is important given that a lot of our small businesses have accounts open with banks in our communities. I know that Debbie talked a little bit about the funding that will be coming through the federal government and how banking institutions in our communities will play a role. One of the things that we are trying to do, as she mentioned, is get like a unilateral understanding amongst local banking institutions in our communities to understand what it means for businesses up here to be involved in those financial transactions and how they can be helpful. I'm going to translate that part, and then I'm going to close with some additional solutions that I think would be important for us to implement. So, para traducir en español, han visto algunas preguntas que han llegado a nosotros sobre cuáles negocios son negocios esenciales. Sabemos que el gobernador ha puesto en pausa el estado de Nueva York hasta por lo menos el 29 de abril. Eso significa que cada negocio que no sea esencial es un negocio que va a tener que cerrar sus puertas. ¿Cuáles son algunos de los negocios esenciales que son importantes? Los negocios de salud, clínicas, laboratorios, salud mental, cualquier clínica de adicción, esas cosas siguen siendo esenciales y siguen abiertas. También sabemos las bodegas, las farmacias, las diferentes estaciones de combustible, una ferretería y también a donde venden comida para los animales, las mascotas, y eso seguirá abierto. Sabemos también que las instituciones bancarias van a seguir abiertas y los contables y también los mercados financieros van a mantener abiertos durante este tiempo. Han visto varias preguntas sobre la construcción. El gobernador emitió una orden ejecutiva que cancela la construcción a menos que sea construcción esencial en nuestro estado, y la construcción esencial es construcción para nuestras carreteras, nuestros túneles y puentes. También construcción para vivienda asequible es considerada esencial en este momento, entendiendo que también tienen que mantener las normas del distanciamiento normal. Bajo las leyes del estado de Nueva York, yo soy miembro del comité de bancos. Una de las cosas que el Departamento de Servicios Financieros del estado de Nueva York está tratando de ayudar a los pequeños, a los bancos, es que los consumidores y los pequeños negociantes que están ahora mismo viviendo en un momento económico difícil puedan deferir los pagos a seguro médico y hasta el 1 de junio del 2020. Quiero también destacar que hay muchas páginas de internet que vamos a dar a domingo, que creemos que son buenos recursos para que los pequeños negociantes visiten y tomen más información, incluyendo la Cámara de Comercio de los Estados Unidos, el Centro de Prevención de Enfermedades, el Departamento de Labor en el Estado, cual nuestra comisionada de Derechos Humanos, Ángela Fernández, habló ya del proceso para unemployment, y también el Departamento de Servicios Sociales en el Estado. El Estado de Nueva York ya le ha pedido a las instituciones bancarias que tienen negocio con el Estado que por favor quiten los montos para cuando las personas pagan tarde o sacan dinero de un cajero automático, y también para cuando la cuenta se sobresalda en estos tiempos, que no haga una penalidad a esas cuentas. Yo creo que eso es algo que va a ser beneficioso para nuestros pequeños negociantes. So some additional proposed solutions. One of the things that I think is important for us to have this conversation with our banking institutions is about the possibility of increasing credit limits for businesses that have been in good standing. So if a bank has a customer, has a long-standing relationship with a small business, having the conversation with our banking institutions about extending credit limits, allowing deferment of payments for loans at no cost, I think is super important. Just the same way that student loans are able to be deferred, if you cannot pay, deferring any loans for small business at this time with no due dates or late fees on late payments. Obviously, we want to see the 90-day forbearance on commercial mortgages and rents, which I mentioned in my points about legislation. And we also want to see something that I brought up yesterday when we had a call with the Commissioner of Small Business Services, is that we would like to see a liaison that is dedicated not only to the Spanish-speaking communities of Northern Manhattan, but also to all of Northern Manhattan, to all of Community Board 12. It's important for us to have a liaison that is dedicated from Small Business Services to help us navigate those low-interest loans and grants that are available through the websites. And in addition, we want to also push for a recovery grants in addition to the work that New York Presbyterian Hospital and the Hispanic Federation have put together. we think that corporations such as Con Edison, who have a significant investment in our community, should put together a recovery grant, especially when it comes to utility payments from small businesses. So en español, solamente para hablar de algunas propuestas que estamos haciendo, creemos que es importante que los bancos que ya tienen a los pequeños negociantes de nuestra comunidad como clientes puedan extender los límites de crédito en este momento para asistir a los pequeños negociantes. También creemos que es importante que si hay negociantes que tienen préstamos, que los pagareces de esos préstamos también sean perdonados si pagan tarde, o que ellos puedan deferir los pagos a esos préstamos si su negocio ha habido una decaída sustancial por el virus. Queremos ver también que, como mencioné anteriormente, que además de los inquilinos, nosotros podamos ver que a los inquilinos comerciales, a los comerciantes, se les puede hacer un congelamiento de renta y de préstamo de mortgage. También hicimos un pedido ayer cuando hablamos con el comisionado de pequeños negocios de la ciudad de Nueva York, de que haga un representante específico asignado al Alto Manhattan para así ayudar a nuestra comunidad. Una de las cosas que tenemos mucha preocupación es que la información no está llegando en español tan libremente como debe de llegar, y queremos asegurar que haya asistencia técnica para esos préstamos. Y lo último es que creo que negocios, y le estamos pidiendo a negocios como Con Edison, que tienen una inversión sustancial en el Alto Manhattan, también formen un fondo de recuperación, ya como hizo el hospital New York Presbyterian. So vamos a estar también escribiendo una carta a Con Edison y para pedirle que también se hagan presente en este momento. Puede ser un fondo que tenga que ver con la luz y toda esa necesidad de que los negocios van a tener en este momento. So, eso es básicamente mi presentación. That is my presentation. Our office is available, obviously, through email, via social media, as well as through our remote number, which Domingo will put in his packet. We're happy to help. You know, this was not an easy budget process in Albany. We are very unhappy with the state budget, but we understand that right now our main work is to make sure that our small businesses are able to recover and bounce back, obviously right after this pandemic starts to recede. I'm hoping that all of you are safe and that your families are safe, and let us know if we can be of assistance. Queremos darle la gracia a Domingo de nuevo por esta oportunidad y ponernos a las órdenes para ustedes y sus negocios mientras enfrentamos este duro momento. Espero que estén bien, que sus familiares estén sanos y salvos. Y Domingo va a dar la información de nuestra oficina al final para el que necesite ayuda independiente. Gracias.
All right. Muchas gracias, Carmen. I know you have to jump on another call. Thank you. Y all the information you provided, thank you for sharing it. We'll make sure we add it to the packet. So, algo que nosotros queramos dejar que todos sepan es con el email que se registraron, nosotros le vamos a estar mandando un paquete del comité de toda la información que se está compartiendo para asegurarnos que todo el mundo pueda recibir y entender muchos de los recursos que se están compartiendo aquí. So we want to make sure that everybody understands that everything that we're sharing today is going to be part of a much more thorough packet, where you'll be able to have the contact information as well as a lot of the resources that they're speaking about at the moment. So, Kenia, si tú puedes hablar brevemente sobre MWBE y cuáles son los beneficios de tener un MWBE.
Hola, ¿me escuchas?
Sí.
Ok. Gracias, Domingo, y gracias a la por la invitación. Nosotros seguimos trabajando remotamente en la Cámara de Comercio, seguimos certificando a nuestros pequeños negocios para que puedan tener acceso a los contratos de la ciudad y el estado. Todavía se están dando estos contratos y, como dijo Wendy cuando habló, se están buscando ahora mismo contratistas en ciertas áreas específicas. Es decir, que si usted cae entre esas industrias que ella le habló, déjenoslo saber para nosotros poder agilizar la certificación tanto con la ciudad y con el estado. Una de las cosas que también quería decir, Domingo, es que ahora mismo las personas que están vendiendo, sea equipo médico, mascarillas, todo lo que sea de protección para los hospitales, no solamente la ciudad y el estado que están buscando comprar, sino también tenemos organizaciones sin fines de lucro que están buscando comprar también. Tenemos senior living, los edificios donde viven los envejecientes que los necesitan. Tenemos varias organizaciones sin fines de lucro que las están pidiendo. Es decir, que nos pueden dejar saber para nosotros también conectarlo y algunos hospitales directamente también. Es decir, que estamos a la disposición, estamos trabajando duramente. Una cosa que estamos trabajando, Domingo, es con los préstamos. Ahora mismo estamos ayudando a las personas a aplicar a todos los recursos que se mencionaron hoy. Es decir, que no se asusten. Queremos que entiendan que no se asusten, que nosotros estamos ayudándolos para que ellos puedan aplicar. Cuando se habló del préstamo del SBA, nosotros estamos trabajando directamente con los pequeños negocios para ayudarlos que puedan aplicar. Pueden entrar a la aplicación del banco, pero eso no quiere decir que ellos sepan manejar la aplicación. Entonces, nosotros estamos ayudándolos para que ellos puedan aplicar.
Perfecto, Kenia. So básicamente, y this is where I will be involving Christian Damiba, where we're currently working on a webinar for Thursday at 11 a.m. to basically walk folks through the NYC loan process. So one great idea that we could do, and we could talk about this offline, is potentially using 11 a.m. or using Thursday as a platform to be able to do webinars to walk people through the application process for a lot of these different resources.
Yes, I would love to do that. And also we have a webinar tomorrow with the SBA. At 2 o'clock, I can send you that information when we're off, so you can also send that out. We have somebody from the SBA who's doing the webinar tomorrow.
Perfect, because we don't want to get too caught up on the, because we don't want to be too rhetorical about it. We want to be more hands-on, and I agree with your approach. We want to help people apply for this, not just let them know that these resources are available.
De eso que se trata. Estamos ayudando, lo voy a decir brevemente en español, ayudando a nuestros pequeños negocios que puedan aplicar. Estamos ayudándolos con la aplicación, a completar la aplicación del préstamo del SBA, lo mismo con el fondo del norte de Manhattan, y todos los demás, algunos de los que pusieron en la pantalla también con el de Verizon, es decir, con todo lo que está allá afuera. El trabajo de nosotros ahora mismo es ayudarlos, darle la asistencia técnica, ayudando con la aplicación para que puedan someterla y puedan beneficiarse de los fondos que están allá afuera.
Perfecto. Muchas gracias, Kenia. Te estaré contactando después de eso.
Gracias a ti, Domingo.
Okay. Hey, Christian, are you on? Christian?
Yes, I am.
Hey, so I would like to introduce now from Small Business Solutions, Upper Manhattan, the Director of Small Business Solution, Upper Manhattan, I believe, and Washington Heights, right? So your corridors from 42nd Street
to
all
Inwood.
The way to the tip of Inwood. All right, perfect. So Christian is the director. He's basically going to be speaking a bit about what the NYC loan is, what are the requirements, and we'll basically make sure to follow up with Thursday's webinar series that we're doing to walk businesses through applying for these NYC loans. So básicamente lo que estaremos haciendo ahora mismo es introduciendo al director de la solución de pequeños negocios de Upper Manhattan, so del Alto Manhattan. Su área es de la 42 hasta la punta de Inwood, y él básicamente va a estar hablando un poco de los préstamos que está ofreciendo la ciudad.
Thank you so much, CB12, for hosting this meeting. and inviting the Washington Heights Business Solutions Center to participate. I want to focus on the NYC Small Business Loan called the NYC Small Business Continuity Loan Program. This is really a loan program to help businesses obviously deal with that massive impact that we're experiencing in order to provide working capital and immediate cash flow to those small businesses. So it's really available right now to businesses that have less than 100 employees, and really that can show that they had a 25% decrease of revenue as a result of this pandemic. So the news here is that eligible business can apply to get that 0% interest loan up to $75,000. So it's really awarded on the first come, first serve, right? So who can apply to this loan? First of all, you have to obviously be located within the 5 boroughs of the city. You also have to be able to demonstrate, and we're gonna help you with that, that you have lost 25% revenue, okay? You have to employ fewer than 100 employees as well. This is one of the stipulation there. You have to have been in operation for 2 years, right? And no outstanding tax lines or legal judgment, okay? So now you may ask me, how do I calculate the revenue loss, right? The way it's gonna be done is really comparing the average revenue for 2 months in 2020. So let's say that you were impacted on February. We're gonna look at really the month of, February or March or 2 months of impact. That's really important here, right? So that we can determine. The other thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna look at the average revenue for the same 2 months in 2019 so that we can compare. We're also gonna look at the average monthly revenue based on your total 2019 revenue, right? So we will check to see if either calculation shows at least 25% decrease in your revenue. So some of and again, we're gonna have a session, I believe on Thursday, to walk you through the application process. We're gonna really provide that technical assistance through the application process as well to you.
Thank you.
The supporting document that are really required in order to prove all of that will be a point of sales report, right? We're going to discuss that with you as well and help you get it. Your sales report, bank statement are acceptable. Quarterly sales tax filing, tax return, profit and loss statement are also accepted, right? So there is also an affidavit that the business has to sign to actually get into eligible for the program, and we help you with completing that form as well. Thus far, in Washington Heights and Inwood, we've assisted over 30 businesses to actually get through that application, and we are actually looking at the application right now. In order to apply for this loan, you have to go to sbsconnect.nyc.gov. sbsconnect.nyc.gov. It's an online application where you're going to create a username and password, collect all your documents that you'll upload, and we can help you with that as well. Okay? So I have
a question,
yes.
Christian. Could cab drivers apply for this loan?
As long as you have been in business for 2 years, right? And you have fewer than 100 employees, right? And everything else that I've said, you definitely can give a shot to this opportunity, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
So again, sbsconnect.nyc.gov. And we have a liaison in Washington Heights at the Washington Heights Business Solutions Center my finance account manager that is helping small businesses with technical assistance, English and Spanish, in Inwood, in Washington Heights, in Northern Manhattan, to help with this application. And also, actually, we're going to start helping more with the SBA application as well. So we're here to help put those applications in regard to supporting with all the documents needed, navigate through the application, answer questions as well.
Okay, perfect. So, básicamente, el director estaba hablando sobre los recursos y los requerimientos que provee, que necesitan para poder aplicar para los préstamos de la ciudad. El jueves a las 11 de la mañana vamos a tener un webinar de cómo aplicar. Lo vamos a caminar paso por paso, cómo poder aplicar para esos préstamos. Y él básicamente habló de los requerimientos. En el email que le vamos a mandarle los requerimientos para que las personas que participen el jueves tengan entendimiento de qué son los requerimientos y qué tipo de documentación necesitan para poder aplicar. Okay, with that, thank you, Christian. Appreciate your participation. I will follow up with you after this call, just so we could be at the same page. And with that said, I'd like to actually introduce Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer to give a few words. And yeah.
Thank you very much, Domingo, and congratulations to the community board. I'll try to be brief because this is so phenomenal that you're doing this. Number one, we did get an offer because it is so hard to fill out the SBS application. You have the SBS support there. You have the amazing nonprofit from Kenya and the BID and everyone who's helping. But Columbia University Law School is devoting some professors and students. So I know that Natalie Espino from our office is on the call. We'll leave in the chat how to contact us. And then I will be glad if it's 5 or under, they will spend time with you to figure out how to fill out that application, if that's helpful. You already have a phenomenal group of individuals who are working with you, but if that's helpful, we'd be glad to do it. We mentioned it in our newsletter yesterday. I got swamped, but I'll put Washington Heights number 1. Number 2 is I want to thank Isidro for being on the call today with all of the Manhattan business improvement districts and talking to the BIDs and talking to NYC and Company Midtown, something that I wouldn't have thought of as clearly, which is that we have to get through, obviously, this, 409 New Yorkers have died since 3 weeks now. We all know people. I can hardly talk about it. The issue is it'll end. How in the world do we get businesses back on their feet? And so there's a lot. Isidro sat through the discussion with the BIDs. NYC and Company, Midtown needs to work with Uptown, tourism, support in different ways. But one of them, which came up today, is the city needs to relax some of the challenges that small businesses face, whether it's the outdoor cafe, whether it's the fine and fee that doesn't make any sense, whether it's putting out the awning, all those crazy things that are constantly bugging the small business. So we need to make that list. Organizations that are starting to do that and say, listen, at least for getting back on our feet, we need to work on all of these issues so small businesses can get back. So I just want to mention that because recovery is something that people, particularly the BIDs, are talking about. The other thing that we need in Washington Heights and Inwood is internet. It is very depressing for me to listen to the BIDs downtown, internet this, talk to this one, that, blah, blah, blah. And Isidro points out, we don't have that. So the whole technology world, which has now shifted, some of us have already been techie for a long time, but it's different. We all know that. We're sitting here on Zoom. So all I'm saying is we need to work together. I'd be glad to work with you to find that funding and support for your businesses, that they have the software and the hardware. Obviously, we need free Wi-Fi also, but we need that. In coming back, another thing that came up was the mayor needs to open some streets in the neighborhoods. He closed the one downtown, but who was there? I don't know. So it's something we need to think, okay, so how are we going to use space in the future? There was a lot of feeling that we're still going to be distancing ourselves. You know, as a whole, it's going to be very different. We're going to want sanitizers in the restaurant. I didn't think about this. We're going to want different types of social activity than what we had before this horrible virus. So all of that is something to think about, even though right now we just want to get the funding from the federal and the city for the small business. And then just finally, I want to say, in terms of the federal money, thank God for Congressman Espaillat and others, but last Friday of the $350 billion, which is part of the CARES Act, 4.8 went right out the door in one day. So you can see that it's important to file as quickly as possible. That's, thank goodness for your webinar. Thank goodness for the business solutions. And if we can help, let me know. I also want to say, I want to thank the Congressman and all of you for the New York Presbyterian funding and the Hispanic Federation. But there are others, Robin Hood, Goldman Sachs, Bloomberg, and so on. We'd be glad to work with you because their number one issue on the nonprofit and the business is the worker. They want to give funding to workers, undocumented in particular. So that's something we should look to them in addition to the 10 million that is thankfully in the community for you to access. We have a newsletter. We'll put it on the chat so you know the information. I think it's given out every single day and we work really hard on it. But congratulations. You are the only ones doing this right now and yay to Board 12. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, thank you for your participation, Madam Borough President. Appreciate it. Appreciate the kind words. But back to action. We have also a representative from the Legal Aid Society community project to make sure that I see a lot of questions that small business and business owners have is, are there any lawyers doing pro bono work, etc. So we actually have a representative from the Legal Aid Society who will be able to speak on what type of resources the Legal Aid Society is providing and how could they support. Le estaba dando la gracia a la directora del, all right, la Borough President por su participación y por su palabra. Nosotros somos bueno, el único community board que realmente está hablando con estos pequeños negocios usando esta plataforma, y básicamente ella habló mucho de los recursos que están disponibles y de muchos de los proyectos que ella, en la cual ella está trabajando, y dijo varias palabras, pero ahora quiero introducir a Rolando González, que es un representante del Legal Aid Society Community Project, una organización de abogados que proveen recursos para pequeños negocios en litigación, etc. So Rolando, if you could just speak on the resources and what Legal Aid is currently on.
All right, good evening. Thank you, Domingo, and thank you, Community 10-12 for hosting and for having me on. I'm an attorney with the Legal Aid Society's Community Development Project, and we provide free legal assistance to qualified businesses and nonprofit organizations. Normally, you provide assistance with choosing a legal structure, incorporation, leasing, and contracts, but during this crisis, we can help small businesses with the following issues: advising on contracts, advising on their employer obligations, advising on insurance claims during the COVID-19. But I think the area where we can actually help the most is with reviewing and advising commercial tenants on their obligations and rights regarding their commercial lease, especially with the payment of rent and with other obligations that are not suspended. So for the majority of business owners, the obligations in their lease remain the same, including the obligation to pay rent. So although there's a moratorium on evictions, there's no suspension of the payment of rent. It's extremely important for small business owners to review their lease, to know what's in their lease, to know what their obligations are, and then that will give them the ability to be able to prepare to negotiate with the landlord, whether they're looking at a waiver of the rent, a reduction of the rent, or an extension of some of their legal obligations. So we prepared some COVID-19 fact sheets on commercial leasing contracts, employment issues, and insurance claims that I understand Domingo will make available. I'm available for people to call me directly. I'm also available by email, which Domingo will provide that information to the business owners. Let me do it quick in Spanish. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Rolando González, soy un abogado en el proyecto de desarrollo comunitario de Legal Aid Society. Ofrecemos asistencia legal para pequeñas empresas y organizaciones sin fines de lucro. Los servicios de nosotros son gratis. Ayudamos a pequeñas empresas con ayuda legal. La ayuda legal durante esta crisis incluye asesoramiento con sus contratos, asesoramiento sobre sus obligaciones a sus empleados, asesoramiento con reclamos de seguro por pérdidas de COVID-19, pero más importante, asesoramiento sobre sus obligaciones y derechos con respecto a su arrendamiento comercial, especialmente su obligación para pagar renta. Para la mayoría de los propietarios de negocios, las obligaciones en el contrato de arrendamiento siguen siendo lo mismo. No se pueden sacar a comerciantes de su negocio ahora, pero no se ha suspendido la obligación de pagar renta. La obligación de pagar su renta sigue si su contrato de arrendamiento lo requiere. Es muy importante para revisar su contrato de arrendamiento y conocer cuáles son sus obligaciones y derechos, y entonces tener un plan para negociar con el dueño si usted quiere una rebaja de su renta o si quiere una extensión de sus obligaciones. Nosotros lo podemos ayudar a esto, y sería, si quieren, me pueden llamar directo o mandarme un email y podemos ayudarlo con sus cosas legales.
Yeah, y la persona que necesite esos servicios, en la pantalla está el número de Rolando y su email. So if you need to contact the Legal Aid Society, in your screen, you should have Rolando's email and his phone number.
By the way, Domingo, if you want to set up a time where we can sort of have a webinar and I can answer questions with businesses, we can do that as well.
Sure. I know it's currently overwhelming because I staggered in a lot of information for the first day. I didn't know how this would work on the webinar, but I think to make it more digestible moving forward, what we'll do is we'll break into weekly a weekly webinar series where we're able to address and really compartmentalize a lot of the concerns and a lot of the resources that we could provide to businesses, whether it be legal advice, filling out application, or even walking them through the MWBE process. We'll just be able to schedule. So I'll be contacting you via email after the call, right? Okay. And with that being said, I think we got through the information, and we're gonna step into we have our final speaker, which is Veronica Lu and Emmanuel Abreu, to speak on the census. I understand that this is a business-oriented event, but the census is what determines what type of resources our community get that don't only benefit the individual as far as representation, but also benefits businesses as well. So with that said, I actually want to introduce Veronica Lu to be able to provide us some updates around the census.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Domingo and CB12. My name is Veronica Liu, and I'm the executive director of the nonprofit organization known as Word Up Community Bookshop. We're a bookstore and art space located on Amsterdam and 165th. Our main mission is to make books and community information accessible. And I'm joined by my colleague and friend, Emmanuel Abreu, who will relay this afterwards in Espanol. Elected officials and other longtime organizations have done a great job at sending out census information, so I don't want to go over all the reasons here that it's important to make sure people fill it out. Hopefully you know that, but I can't emphasize enough that a lot of people will take this census as a result of a trusted source close to them telling them that it's important to do so. Trusted nonprofits, businesses, schools, So please share this information so Uptown can make sure to get its share of resources and representation. My 2020 census.gov. As of today, census response is at 45.7% nationally, but New York City is at 35%. Uptown is doing okay in the context of all of NYC, but we want to keep this up and increase the numbers. Anything less than 100% really is not enough response. You know, and we at Word Up have been hoping to get thousands of people to sign up for the census during our hundreds of events that we host. When we're open, we have 1 to 4 events per day. And obviously, you know, we can't do that kind of volume while at home, but we're still setting up virtual events, and we'll make sure to mention the census during those. You can sign up for our newsletter and follow social media to keep up to date on our virtual events. But also as a business, we've emphasized, you know, our not in-person census promotion plans. So I just wanted to share some of those here in case it's useful. We're mentioning in, you know, every single one of our newsletters, and we've increased the frequency of our newsletters. And we're actually hearing great response from people on just hearing from us more. People are just needing, you know, people are at home and looking at computers more and like appreciate, you know, just friendly information coming out. We're posting a lot of census articles and reminders on Facebook and Instagram, and, you know, having our members write blog posts on why it's important and linking these blog posts and elsewhere. Emmanuel made some videos that have been shared in English and Spanish. And we've posted a lot of our information and FAQs on, you know, our site, wordupbooks.com/census2020. And then Emmanuel and Carolina, two of our staff, they actually ran an Instagram live Q&A session that had 100 people attend, where they could ask questions about the census and, you know, just ask like, what do you do if you don't have a phone, you know, just different kind of questions. And
Veronica, do you know the numbers for Washington Heights and Inwood at the moment?
At the moment, you know, when we were trying to look it up on that map, it was like, you know, I feel like someone here might know better than me, but it seemed to say that 35.1% average. There were different tracks that were actually much higher within Washington Heights than that. But if anyone else knows more specifically, we were looking kind of at an average, and we were including some areas where we have a lot of.
You're unmuted.
I'm muted? No.
No. Gail Brewer says she knows that.
Number one. You're number one. So don't keep going.
Yeah.
In the whole man, you're kicking ass. Keep going.
I also wanted to share that we created one of the things that we were doing as a business to try and incentivize people to take it was we created a coupon code to give 15% off buying books on our website. On wordupbooks.com to, you know, some schools that we'd done events with before we closed the store. We gave them the code saying, you know, fill out the census and let us know, and we'll like give you a bonus incentive for it. And people have been doing that. So, you know, we are happy to offer this code to anyone here who wants to use it as an incentive for your business's clients to just email us at info@wordupbooks.com. We could set that up.
Okay, cool. We could potentially add it to the packet that we're going to send small businesses. So I encourage that.
Yeah.
So do you want me to unmute Emmanuel now so you can say it in Spanish? Yeah. Emmanuel, you're muted.
Okay, so I was trying to translate all this stuff as you were talking, so I'm going to try my best. Me llamo Emanuel Abreu, soy cofundador de Word Up Librería Comunitaria, localizado en la 165 y Amsterdam, 2113 de Amsterdam. Nuestra misión es el acceso a libros y información para la comunidad. Funcionarios electos y organizaciones en el barrio han hecho un buen trabajo en comunicando información sobre el censo. So, no voy a hablar en la importancia del censo porque ya lo saben. Lo que queremos enfatizar es que muchas gentes llenan el censo porque alguien que ellos conocen y tienen confianza le dicen que es importante. Organizaciones sin fines de lucros y escuelas y etcétera. Por favor, compartan la información para que el Alto Manhattan reciba los recursos y representantes que necesitamos. El website es my2020census.gov. Los números del censo ahora mismo en el país entero, I'm going back and forth with Dominican and Spanish.
All right. I think they get the point, Emmanuel. Appreciate it.
Okay, I will say the rest. Good.
Thank you. Eliezer, ¿qué tú querías decir?
The presentations have all been tremendously informative. Now, I would have loved for if there was anyone that is part of the attendees or panelists that can also speak from the perspective of a business owner. I would have loved to hear how are the businesses being primarily and directly affected. The employees, are they doing deliveries? Are they open? Sort of like getting that perspective. Maybe for next time, Domingo, you can.
Yeah, but I think it's important to send that prior too.
Yeah.
So next time, like if you know we're doing this, just let me know and I'll make sure I incorporate that. Okay. All right. So so now we're opening up the Q&A to Q&A. So if Tanya, do you want to read out some of the questions that we had?
Yeah, I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to start by, there were a few questions here. You should, I guess, let people know that there's a hand, if they go to the bottom, there's an option to raise your hand. So if you haven't already put your question in Q&A, you can raise your hand and Jonathan, I believe, is putting people in this queue. But I will start with, there were a few people who had a question about independent contractors, because we've talked about what's available for, brick and mortar, but what about, independent contractors who have to pay employment taxes and rent, and what is there for them in terms of resources?
All right. So it's more about if they qualify or they don't, I'm assuming, right? So Christian, could you speak to, as far as when we talk about independent contractors, how are the loans? Do they qualify for loans?
Absolutely. They definitely will qualify. We just have to look at requirements such as 2 years in business. We have to look at other requirements, but they do qualify, yes.
Okay, perfect. Debbie, do you hear me, Debbie?
Yeah.
How about as far as for federal, for the federal loans and the PPP, how do individual contractors qualify?
Right. That's an excellent question and something that I neglected to mention. So thank you for the opportunity. You should be able to apply on the emergency relief side that I spoke about, and that 10,000 as an independent contractor or sole proprietor. On the PPP side, as we understand it now, the application will be available and the window open for independent contractors and sole proprietors on April 10th. What we don't know is that one going to look at all different? But what we can say is salary up to 100,000 is covered. So to the extent you're a sole proprietor, independent contractor who's had a loss of income that I think, as I understand it, greater than 100,000, you wouldn't be able to make that up, but you can get some relief there. I just think on the PPP side, we're really not going to know much until we see it on April 10th. But both are included, and I would say that that's in part thanks to the efforts of the congressman and some of the New York delegation that pushed hard on this issue of, the more gig economy and independent contractors, et cetera. But again, sole proprietors will go at that point.
Okay, perfect. Angela, I know you did a report on state and you spoke about a independent pandemic fund.
Yes.
How does that work?
So this actually comes from the federal government, but it is going to be going through the state. And so the pandemic unemployment assistance is specific for people who do not traditionally qualify for unemployment insurance. And as I mentioned before, and a reminder, even if you yourself know that you don't qualify for unemployment insurance because you're an independent contractor, you should still apply for it because you need that denial to then be eligible to apply for the pandemic unemployment assistance. And so the pandemic unemployment assistance includes a broad category that I mentioned earlier, but one of them is independent contractors.
Okay, y tengamos, Angela, and for Spanish, tengamos taxistas que me mandaron email ahora también. ¿Para qué ellos califican?
Bueno, taxistas que utilizan Lyft o Uber, por ejemplo, ellos pueden aplicar para el seguro de desempleo tradicional, porque el estado de Nueva York define ese tipo de conductores como empleados. Así que ellos pueden aplicar para el seguro de unemployment tradicional. Pero también lo que yo recomiendo es que las personas que sean taxistas, las personas que trabajan en salones de belleza, que alquilan una silla, o barberos que alquilan una silla, aunque ellos trabajan por sí mismos, deben de aplicar, porque tienen que aplicar de todas maneras para el seguro tradicional, y si son rechazados, ya de ahí pueden aplicar al seguro de desempleo de pandemia que yo mencioné antes.
Ok, perfecto. Yo sé que tengamos cultural workers here too.
Perdona, también quiero añadir algo. Cuando las personas aplican para esto, acuérdense que si tú cualificas para el seguro de desempleo o para el seguro de desempleo de pandemia, cualquiera de los dos, si tú cualificas, también vas a recibir la compensación de desempleo de pandemia, que eso es para todo el mundo, es $600 a la semana.
Okay, perfecto. All right, so let me start with
Do you want, so there are a few more.
We're not going to read all the Q&A questions.
Okay, so what do you want?
So what we'll do now is we'll go to the folks raising their hands. For the folks who ask questions during the Q&A, what we'll do is get back to you. We have your emails as you logged in, and we'll make sure that we answer it more thoroughly. If you feel like it's not answered well enough, just make sure to use the raise your hand feature, the hand feature that's in, hold up, let me help you out. Yeah, there's a feature, say if you're logging in that says raise hand, use that feature and we'll be able to answer the questions that way. Okay, so let's go with Jackie Tesman. Hey, Jackie.
Hi, Domingo. Thanks. It was actually a question for Angela. I just wanted to know whether or not for unemployment insurance, whether or not you needed to hold a green card or you needed to be a citizen.
That's a very good question. And I'll say it in English and in Spanish. So you do have to be authorized to work in the United States. But being authorized to work in the United States is not only, it's not only made up of US citizens. If you are a green card holder or a legal permanent resident, you are authorized to work in the United States and you can apply for unemployment benefits, the range that I shared. And additionally, if you have DACA, if you are a DACA, the individual that has DACA, you are working, and if you become unemployed, you can apply. People who have TPS, temporary protected status, people who have applied for asylum.
Yes, Angela?
Yeah, what's that?
The answer is yes, right?
No, well, no, undocumented people are not eligible.
So what we'll do is, Jackie will email you with a much more thorough response.
Can I just say it in Spanish very quickly?
Okay.
Las personas que no son ciudadanos americanos, pero que tienen tarjeta verde, que tienen DACA, que tienen el TPS o que tienen cualquier autorización de trabajo, pueden aplicar para el seguro. y no va a ser contado como un cargo público. And I just want to say this in English. For those of you that are not U.S. citizens but that are authorized to work, you can apply for benefits, and it will not be considered a public charge, so you will not be penalized later.
Okay, perfect. Sally? Sally?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, just following up on the independent contractor, a lot of these loans and grants, et cetera, are equally relevant to cultural institutions, to arts organizations, to independent artists. So if you can just make sure any of the notes that you provide, if you could also shoot them over to Parks and Cultural Affairs. We're meeting on Monday, so we can.
Okay, perfect. Will do.
And also, word up, if you're still on the line, we would love to be able to provide that same benefit to some of our cultural organizations in terms of them encouraging their members to fill out the census. I had one, or I guess two specific questions. One is, how many MWBE businesses do we have in Community Board District 12? And then my second question is, I know the focus of this is on COVID-19 relief, but is there other non-COVID-19 business legislation moving forward, especially at the city council level?
Okay, perfect. So what I'll do is, so we don't have, Kenya stepped out, and the representative from Comptroller Stringer's office is no longer here. So what I'll do is I'll email them those questions and I will get them back to you, okay?
Great, thanks.
Next, we have Osaliki. You're on, you can, yeah, there you go.
Hi. Thank you, and thank you everybody for having this section, and it's really important. First is, I work in the arts and culture industry. I have a small nonprofit, and it's been a little difficult to find information on funding that can help arts and culture institutions and groups in the community. Do we also qualify for these benefits, or is there something different?
Well, from my understanding is that you do. So as long as you've been functioning, at least for the New York City one, you have to have at least 2 years functioning. But Christian, if I'm wrong, could you please clarify?
So the New York City Small Business Continuity Loan apply for-profit business only. But again, with all the SBA loans and other assistance available, you do have many assistance available as well for not-for-profit.
Okay, perfect.
You can help navigate through that. But specifically the NYC Small Business Continuity Loan is really for
Okay, so for instance, for nonprofits, there's another set of resources.
Yes, you have some opportunity with the SBA loan available right now.
Thank you.
Not-for-profit, yeah.
Okay, so Debbie, how for cultural organizations, how are we helping them with the SBA loan? Debbie? You gotta unmute yourself.
Debbie stepped away for a minute. I'm gonna text her.
Okay. So what we'll do, Saliki, is make sure that we get back to you at your email. I will follow up to make sure we give you the best and most up-to-date answer.
Sorry, this is Debbie. Was that a question for me?
Yes. So basically, how could the SBA support some of our cultural nonprofits in the community? You heard
Sorry,
me,
you patched out for a second between SBA and nonprofits.
Okay, so we have a question from one of our cultural nonprofits in the community around how could the SBA be, him applying for the SBA help his nonprofit if he's a cultural organization?
Are there employees, I guess would be one question.
Yes.
So, It's,
So what we could do, Debbie, is to be able to compile more accurate information, I will connect you to. I will get his email and
that.
I'll send it to you so that you could have more much more of an in-depth conversation with him. Is that okay with you, Saliki?
That's fine with me. Thank you. Thanks, Domingo.
All right. So what I'll do is expect an email where I'll be linking both of you. All right.
Thank you. That'd be
Appreciate
great.
it. Thanks. Thank you, Debbie.
There's also a New York Community Trust grant that is specific for arts and culture during the time of COVID-19 that you can check out, Osaliki.
All right. So send that to him. All right. Veronica, you have his contact, or I need to share it? You got it? All right. Carla. Yeah, you have to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So I had two questions. I got partial answers now. I called Chase. We were told over the phone that we had to physically go to apply for a loan in Chase for a business loan. But then I'm like, why would they want us to go there physically with the whole pandemic? So I was told now that there is an online form that we can fill out for the loan.
Okay, perfect. And also, Carla, just so you know, we will be having an 11 o'clock webinar on Thursday to be able to assist with the navigation of applying for the New York City loan, if that's something else you would be interested in.
Okay. I think I already applied for that one.
Okay.
That's New York City Small Business Services. Is that one?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, I did that one yesterday. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
The other question is, if we have contractors that work with us that are undocumented, so we don't have employees in our business, we have contractors. We don't pay them, they pay us for space. But I want to be able to give them some information, because right now they're putting themselves at risk, some of them, by going to provide services in people's homes because they're desperate for money and we're concerned for their health. But we can't do anything because we're shut down. So we can't help them in any way. We can't open our doors yet. So if they're undocumented, but they're not employees, how can we give them positive information to get help?
Okay, Angela?
Yeah, so there's numerous resources that exist for undocumented individuals, and they're coming from the nonprofit, non-governmental sector. So I just want to be clear about that.
Okay.
And so I'm happy to get that information over to Domingo, and Domingo can also share that as part of the packet.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect. So undocumented contractors.
Okay. So your email
I
is
understand. Yep.
Dr. A. Peralta at
Yes.
Hotmail?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll make sure we forward you the information, okay?
Awesome, thank you.
All right, no problem. Now we have
Guadalupe Castro.
Yeah. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
Hola, mi pregunta la voy a hacer en español.
Okay.
Yo soy actualmente dueña, pero trabajo también en mi compañía. Mi pregunta es, ¿yo también puedo aplicar para el unemployment?
Yo le voy a recomendar que llames directamente al departamento de labor, porque no, la pregunta, usted dice que eres dueña, pero también empleada.
Sí, trabajo en mi negocio.
Sí, pero tú eres dueña también, por eso creo que van a haber unos requisitos ahí. Lo que también podemos hacer es, yo le voy a averiguar esa respuesta. Lo que le voy a pedir a Domingo es que cuando yo consiga la respuesta, se lo mando a él para que lo pueda compartir contigo.
Perfecto.
Pero si me puede hacer un favor también y detallar un poquito más el tipo de negocio. No tiene que decirlo ahora, pero en un correo electrónico a Domingo, detalla un poco más el tipo de negocio y cuánto empleo.
Perfecto.
Okay. ¿Cuál es su email?
Es
el mismo que
puse en...
Ok, so GBIG Castro.
Sí.
¿Cuál es su nombre, señora, para yo tenerlo aquí también apuntado, su nombre?
Guadalupe Castro.
Ok, gracias.
Okay. Ok, muchas gracias, Guadalupe. So nosotros les responderemos vía email, ¿ok?
Muchas gracias.
Okay. So now we have Carla. Carla spoke already. Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa.
Hi, mi nombre es Vanessa. Soy propietaria de un daycare. La pregunta es, ¿yo puedo calificar para este negocio? Apenas tengo un año con mi negocio, pero mi negocio no está registrado. So, quiero saber cuáles serían los pasos que yo tendría que dar.
Okay. ¿Cómo su negocio no está registrado? ¿Cómo no está registrado?
So, yo no tengo no está registrado.
Incorporado.
Exacto, no tengo una corporación. So, yo tengo apenas un año con mi negocio y todavía no he hecho una corporación. Pero sí tengo un año ya recibiendo el niño. Tengo niños de ACA. So, me gustaría saber si también yo puedo aplicar para este tipo de préstamo.
Ok, porque yo creo que debe de tener cierto nivel de incorporación para poder aplicar, porque ellos le piden, hay ciertos requisitos que el negocio debe de tener. Por ejemplo, un sole proprietor, yo creo que LLC, tiene private non-profit, you know?
Domingo?
Yeah.
Is it possible we can translate the Spanish questions into English so people, non-Spanish speaking people, can benefit from it?
Hello? What were you saying, Tanya?
Oh, no, I was saying, is it possible we can translate the Spanish speaking questions into English so the non-Spanish speaking business people on the line, on the call, can benefit from those questions and answers? Because they're
All right. Thank you, Tanya. So we will look into that. Vanessa, vamos a ver, voy a coger su email.
Okay.
Y la voy a contactar ahí, pero yo sé que hay ciertos requisitos de incorporación que debe de tener la agencia, pero si usted está recibiendo niños de ACS, ACS no va a estar dando niños a gente que no tenga cierto nivel de incorporación o certificación.
So, a nosotros nos permiten abrir nuestro negocio. Somos como independientes. Yo estaba...
Un independent contractor, básicamente.
Sí, yo estaba ya por abrir mi corporación, pero en esto transcurrió todo esto. Ya estaba visitando a mi abogado para hacer lo que es la corporación de mi negocio. Y no sé, yo tengo 16 niños de ACA. No sé si...
Ok, so yo le damos seguimiento después de la llamada. Su email es licdamarcelo@outlook.com.
Sí.
Ok, so le daremos seguimiento ahí. Okay.
De acuerdo, muchas gracias.
Okay. So basically, we have an individual who is who owns a daycare. She's currently not incorporated. She's functioning as a like as a subcontractor, but yet she's getting children from ACS, etc. So she was just asking what type of support does she qualify for. So what I told her was that we would get more information around her situation and contact her. As far as Rolando, are you? Because I was not too sure on how does that. So individual contractors.
She's actually Domingo. She's actually a sole proprietor. So even though she's not registered, she's a sole proprietor. So I assume she would be eligible.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I'll give her the follow up as that, because the way she explained it was that she she didn't necessarily have an corporation yet. Or,
Yeah, if you don't incorporate or form an LLC, you're automatically a sole proprietor.
okay,
Or
perfect.
partnership, depending. But either way, she's either a sole proprietor or partnership if she owns it with someone else.
Okay, perfect. So we'll do that follow. Thank you so much, Rolando. Doris González,
Yes, hi, ¿cómo está?
¿cómo está?
Una pregunta. Yo estaba tratando de coger información y aplicando algunos grants porque realmente no quiero préstamos en este momento. Primero estoy aplicando pues para unos grants, pero cuando yo pongo el nombre de la compañía, no me aparece en la lista. Entonces, pero yo estoy
Primero
pagando.
que todo, vamos, ¿para qué está aplicando?
Hay unos grants el grant de SBS.gov.
Ok,
Ok, eso yo ya lo ingresé, pero cuando dan la opción en otros grants que he chequeado, me dicen el nombre de la compañía y tratan de buscarme en el sistema como se llama mi compañía. Yo tengo problemas para que siempre lo encuentren, pero yo tengo el tax ID de la compañía, yo trabajo siempre con el tax ID de la compañía, tengo registrado, tengo nombres especiales pues de la compañía y todos los documentos de unemployment y todo, yo lo tengo bajo la compañía, pero ¿por qué no me aparece con esa información el nombre de la compañía?
ok, so, le voy a traducir la pregunta a Cristian, que básicamente brega con esos préstamos de la ciudad. Usted está hablando del préstamo de la ciudad de Nueva York, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Ok, so dame un segundo. Hey, Christian.
Yes.
So we have an individual who's basically asking about, she applied for the SBS grant, for the SBS loan. But when she applies, there's a step in the application where her business is supposed to be, she's supposed to put in the name of her business, and it's supposed to, I'm assuming, it's supposed to pop up. And she's having difficulty when she puts the name in, her business being generating them.
Well, in that case, I think it's best if we can get her information so that on our hand, we can check.
Okay, perfect. So, Dory, lo que vamos a hacerle, voy a mandar le voy a mandar un email y le voy a preguntar pregunta básica sobre el nombre del negocio para que uno de las personas que está trabajando con esas aplicaciones le pueda responder que le dé un update.
Ok, great.
Ok, muchas gracias, Doris.
¿Mi correo electrónico?
Sí, es dorisgonza@hotmail.com.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'll follow up there.
Great, thank you.
So basically what she's asking is that she's applied for the SBS New York City loan, but she's having difficulty when she's inputting her business and it's not popping up on the database. So what we'll do is we'll follow up with her.
What's the name of her business? What the name of
Give me 1 second. Let me ask her. Doris.
Hello.
Doris, ¿cuál es el nombre de su negocio?
Little Angels Playhouse Daycare.
Little Angels Playhouse Daycare.
Okay, I'm taking a note here.
Okay, thank you so much, Christian. Gracias, Doris.
De nada, gracias.
Okay, is there any more questions?
I have some questions from the Q&A that I think are very important. Would you like to hear those?
As far as the questions from the Q&A, if they were already answered, then...
No, they weren't. They weren't.
All right, which question wasn't answered?
Okay, so there was one question from Anira Palawoda. She asked, what if you don't have all the docs right now? And what if in the 2 months that I'll see the most loss is April and May and not March? Do I have to wait to apply until May? She's concerned that she's not going to see the loss right now and her applications won't reflect the loss right now. What should she do in that case? How will this impact her applications?
All right.
So,
Which application?
Any of the loan applications for showing loss, particularly, any of the loans related to COVID-19 and loss. She's wondering if she's saying most of the loss will be April and May and not March. So,
Hey, Tanya, this is Debbie. I think that first, that was a very big issue with the New York City Employee Retention Grant, which expired Friday at 5 p.m., was that very issue. And I can't speak to how they worked it out at the end, but when they had first opened that program, it was like in the first week of March, then you had to use February, but that didn't make any sense because nobody was closed in February. For the SBA emergency grant, there's no concept. I mean, you need to attest that you've been sort of harmed by the crisis, but there's no financials that need to be shown. For payroll protection, it's not really, it is not really working on revenue. But let's talk about the Northern Manhattan grant, which does have a concept of a decline in revenues of about 25%. I think because it's designed particularly for brick and mortar retail that's closed. You know, you could also just say I'm closed. But I guess the bigger point with their grant program is that if you don't have like financials totally ready to go to show that, you know, just they're willing to accept some creativity in terms of like what you can show. So even if it's something that feels like it's not, you know, all tight and audited, they may be able to work with it. But I do know that that was a very hot issue with the SBS Employee Retention Grant that closed its window on April 5th. I don't know if that helps you though.
All right, thank you, Debbie.
And then I have one more, if I may. Okay, there's two questions related to are these loans and this assistance only available for brick and mortar businesses? And related to that was another question about what if you don't have payroll, like staff? What if you don't have employees? Like, right. So they're kind of related. So if anybody could address those, that would be great.
From my understanding, it's not only necessarily towards brick and mortar, but for instance, for the Northern Manhattan Fund, they're asking for rent. They're asking for there's certain document requirements that would require rent, if I'm not mistaken, Debbie. So that one's more towards like folks who do have brick and mortar.
That's right. I mean, and again, the other thing is like, let's say the business didn't need help with the rent, then they wouldn't have to supply information about their rent. But I think most businesses would be asking for coverage because it's been so difficult to pay the rent on your space with lower revenues or no revenues. So, but they're really looking for you to just provide the proof that you can relative to what you are asking for.
Thank you, Debbie.
So if you have service, if you're a service business, like, and you are not a brick and mortar, they could still qualify for some of this. And I think that's what, you know, they were trying to get at. And if they don't have like payroll staff, like would they still qualify?
That's a very good question. And I'm sorry, that it was the main point of the question. I didn't address it. For not on the nonprofit side, but on the business side, on the corporation side, it is true that it's sort of worded to be focused on the brick and mortar, but I think that if it's a business serving the neighborhoods that are part of the grant, that it's worth a conversation, or I can try to get clarity on that. I actually am not 100% positive. Again, I understand the way the application is written would indicate that, but I think that they might be open to it. It was just they were trying to really get at that particular part of the community. I don't think that meant to the exclusion if your services are serving the neighborhood.
Tanya, if you got that person's contact information, let's just connect them with Debbie so Debbie could provide them with more clarity, okay?
I don't have it. You would have it on your end. I can only see their sign-in names.
Just take note of that, all right?
Okay, all right.
Belkis, you have to unmute yourself, and then Emmanuel, you'll be next, okay?
Hello?
Hello?
Belkis.
Belkis? Belkis.
Hello.
Sí, buena.
Buena. Mi amor, yo tengo una pregunta.
Póngase más cerca al teléfono que se oye muy lejos.
Te hablo de Divine Beauty Spa.
¿De qué?
Te hablo del salón Divine.
La llamada está saliendo y entrando. ¿Me oye?
Si está utilizando su teléfono, debe permanecer tranquila en un lugar en específico, no moverse.
Okay, so I'll just get back to her via email. Emmanuel, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
So I just had a question about, or for freelancers, but I guess I have a more, well, maybe it's not that much of a unique situation, but I work part-time with People's Theater Project, and I'm working part-time temporarily with Word Up, because that's depending on the census grant. So once that's up, I'm done. But my majority of my money comes from freelancing as a photographer and as a videographer. And since there are obviously no events happening, I basically have no work besides the part-times, and the part-times are just, you know, very, very baseline income. So I'm wondering if I qualify for any type of you know, help in you know, any company.
Domingo, I can answer that.
Go ahead.
So you should apply for unemployment insurance. You will, I mean, I don't want to predict, but you will likely get rejected, and then you should apply for the pandemic unemployment assistance.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, with that being said, do we have any more hands up? Technology is very difficult to manage multiple things. So one of the takeaways is, unfortunately, we have to be able to compartmentalize a lot of these conversations and not bring all the individuals that could answer all these questions. So moving forward, what we will do is, Christian, I'm working with you on Thursday at 11 a.m. to be able to assist individuals in applying for the New York City loans. So básicamente, lo que la tecnología nos enseña a nosotros es que a veces podamos saturar demasiado ciertas conversaciones cuando traemos todos los recursos disponibles. So, hacia adelante, lo que vamos a hacer es vamos a dividir muchos de los recursos en diferentes días. So, el jueves a las 11 vamos a tener el primer evento que es basado en cómo aplicar para el préstamo de la ciudad solamente. Y vamos a estar comunicándonos vía email con los diferentes recursos que tengamos disponibles y haciendo eventos individuales para poder asistirle en el proceso de aplicar. Tengamos a alguien extremadamente importante en Rolando, Rolando que no está con nosotros ahora, que le puede proveer muchos recursos y directiva de un abogado. Y moving forward, eso es lo que vamos a hacer. Vamos a dividir muchas de estas conversaciones en segmentos individuales para poder proveer esos recursos individuales. So moving forward, what we'll be doing is dividing these conversations into a series of these different resources and making sure that we're assisting you in those individualized resources. I will be closing, so if anybody has something to say in closing, please do it now. Y eso que Lisnel no ha hablado, Lisnel es un muy buen recurso. Ella trabaja para la Majority Leader, Senator Stewart's cousin, en el Senado, Lisnel, tú hablas.
Saludos a todos, yo me llamo Lisnel Ventura, yo trabajo por la líder del Senado, la senadora Andrea Stewart Cousins. Yo como associate de External Relations, me dedico a ayudar a los distritos donde hay senadores demócratas. Yo trabajo con el senador Jackson, con la senadora Piaggi, y fuera de esas oficinas trabajo en la comunidad en general. Así que me da muchísimo placer conocerlos a todos. He estado muy calladita aquí, pero en tanto me necesiten, acá estoy.
Can you say it in English too?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Lisnel Avar Ventura. I'm an External Relations Associate for Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart Cousins. In that capacity, I help the communities of Democratic state senators. So I do a lot of work with Senator Piaggi's office, Senator Jackson's office, and outside of those offices, just work in the community in general. So I'm always here, I'm always available. I appreciate that I was quite quiet throughout all of this, but I am indeed a resource in whichever way I'm needed. And I'm from Washington.
So, básicamente, nosotros vamos a estar contactándolo a todos y a todas vía email. Y cuando reciban esos emails, respondan. Y ahí vamos a tener un enlace más directo. Y cualquier pregunta que tengan, yo le hago el referido a la agencia correcta. Okay, so basically this call is coming to an end. So what we'll do is, if anybody has any questions, I sent out an email with the link to everybody today. Just make sure you're able to ask me any questions there, and I will refer you to any of the proper agencies that could answer your question the best. I want to thank everybody for participating. Angela, thank you so much. Are there any words you would like to say? Carmen, well, we got Orlando here, Word Up. Debbie's still here. Marielle is still here from the comptroller's office. So I want to, if you have any final words that you would like to say, let me know.
I'll just as the New York State Commissioner of Human Rights, that our office is fully functioning. We are working remotely, but also feel free to reach out to us to ask us questions about anything that's not related to human rights. We will work as hard as possible to get you connected internally to the correct agency, or help you connect with the correct organization. We are all in this together. Your safety is our safety. And we are here to serve and to help you. Rápidamente, como la comisionada de Derechos Humanos del Estado de Nueva York, que estamos disponibles a responderle a cualquier pregunta, mismo si la pregunta no tiene que ver con derechos humanos, nosotros los puede mandar y nosotros vamos a conseguir la respuesta o conectarlo con la agencia o la organización adecuada. Seguimos trabajando en nuestra organización y que la seguridad de ustedes es la seguridad nuestra y estamos en esto juntos. Gracias.
Orlando.
Yo soy Orlando Valles, de parte de la oficina del asambleísta Carmen de la Rosa. Estoy aquí como un recurso, gracias al Community Board 12, gracias a Domingo por poner este panel virtual en pie. Tú sabes que aquí tienen un aliado y nada, he estado escuchando todos los recursos y cualquier cosa que yo pueda hacer de utilidad, que estoy. Hello, my name is Orlando Ovalles. I'm with the Office of Assemblywoman Carmen de la Rosa, and I want to thank the Community Board 12 and Domingo especially for putting this together. And I want you guys to utilize me as a resource, even though we're working virtually and remotely. We're hands-on with our email, with our virtual, with our remote access line that Domingo has and is going to provide to all of you. And I'm very accessible. So anything that's needed on behalf of the small businesses, I have a lot of experience with the small businesses because I worked in a chamber previously, and I dealt with MWEs, and I've dealt with, access to capital and all these, resources and services that the community may need, especially during these trying times. So I'm here. Thank you all.
Thank you. Debbie?
Thanks, Domingo. This is Debbie Nabavian from the Office of Congressman Espaillat. I just want to say thank you so much for organizing this. What the Manhattan Borough President said is quite true. CB12 Business Development and CB12 in general is doing a bang-up job. I really, really appreciate your leadership. Just know that the Congressman's office is here. As Angela said, we are serving people remotely, but all offices are open on a remote basis, and anything that we can do to help, we will certainly do so. So thanks again. This was really, really a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Natalie? Natalie?
Hello, yes.
Is there anything you want to say?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to mention, I had texted to Eleazar the links that Gail had mentioned. As soon as you guys made me a panelist, I didn't have access to the raise hand or to the Q&A anymore. So it's a bit of a glitch there, but if you guys can share that, I'm excited that you guys are still doing this really hands-on work. You guys are setting a standard for the borough. And as always, let us know what we can find out for you, what we can provide. Send us the invitation for Thursday. And
I'll be following up with you around like the series that we could potentially pull off this month, right, Natalie? So we can work on that together.
Wonderful. But for the Thursday morning workshop, please let us put it into our update. We'll plug that as well.
All right, perfect. Mariel? You want to say anything, Mariel? Nope. All right. Christian, is there any closing words you would like to say?
I just want to give you a big thank you for inviting me, and on behalf of my team, we're looking forward to provide the technical assistance to small businesses in Northern Manhattan, Washington Heights, Inwood. We're here to really provide that assistance, and I'm really looking forward to do that.
Thank you so much, Christian. So, Christian básicamente dijo que él está muy feliz de proveer ese servicio. Él está aquí para ayudar a Washington Heights y a Inwood. So, comenzando este jueves a las 11, yo voy a mandar un email para los que quieran aplicar para los préstamos de la ciudad. Lo vamos a estar caminando paso por paso. Mi Christian fue una de las personas que apoyó este effort y dijo presente cuando se preguntó por su asistencia. Is there anybody, I want to thank my committee. Like, you have to understand there's a lot of crazy work behind the scenes. So I want to start off by thanking my assistant chair, Tanya Bonner, Ashley Fernandez, Jonathan Frometa, who's become like the Zoom guru. So like anything you see us doing is thanks to the man behind the scenes who never turns his camera on. But besides that, I just want to say thank you. Nobles Crawford was part of the call. Rafael Fernandez, who's a public member. He's also the vice president of the Chase branch, another Chase branch, I'm sorry, the Apple Bank branch in 181st Street. Who's been was responding to questions in Spanish today, etc. Thank you so much. I will be following up via email. If you have any questions, just make sure you email. I'm gonna screen share this document here. Just make sure you share it, and we will be sharing this via email as well. What technology has taught us is, and a meeting that would usually take an hour and a half takes 3 to 4 hours. So yeah, we got to figure this out. But there's the link to the individuals who want to start registering for Thursday at 11 to get assistance. I'll leave it on for a bit. Just make sure you screen share it, or you take a screenshot of it. And that's all the information. If you have to contact us, my email is there. Make sure you contact. So si tiene cualquier pregunta, mi email está abajo, dejrcb12m@gmail.com. Si quieres comenzar la registración para la sesión de apoyo para la aplicación de préstamos de la ciudad de Nueva York, el link está ahí. El link parece medio raro, pero lo que pasa es que lo pone más corto y te lleva al formulario que te va a ayudar a registrarte para el paso por paso de la aplicación para el apoyo el jueves a las 11. So with that being said, yo, listen out. Thank you. Appreciate you, homie. Everybody, team, everybody, thank you very much. And
can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Super quick. Word Up is still a resource for sharing resources. So if any of y'all want to send us any information that you want us to put on social media or on our website, especially to do with, you know, like helping businesses and helping community members recover, stay healthy, stay mentally healthy, stay sane, and everything, just email us info@wordupbooks.com. That's info@wordupbooks.com. And support your local businesses. Keep shopping online, keep ordering shit. Doesn't have to be from us, it could be from anybody. Just, you know, keep spending money if you got it.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. And yeah, have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Domingo.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
all
you,
the
everybody.
information.
Thank you, Domingo.
Okay.